Authority and Royalty by René Guénon. Here is a paragraph by the traditionalist René Guénon, where the traditional perception of authority and royalty is summarized in an interesting and useful way. In all historical civilizations before our own, not least in the Indo-Aryan cultures, the monarch's role has been to be a bridge between the higher reality and our world. Often, the monarch has been regarded as a descendant of the gods or as a god himself. In comparison with this, the Bernadotte family, the Swedish monarch, is rather pathetic, meek, hollow, and shallow. It is a sad fact that the authority of our time is reduced to be about either pure power, peoplehood, or money, while all the higher qualities, wisdom and honor for an example, that were previously presumed to be possessed by power holders now clearly are absent. Our leaders are nothing but scared, pathological lying, sociopathic, passive-aggressive zeros, nobodies, wearing suits. And even if you do not have to turn the clock back to medieval times, it may be interesting to explore the worldview that was the base behind their view of authority. And that is exactly what Guénon does in the paragraph that follows. Quote, "The title King of the World, taken in its highest, most complete, and at the same time most rigorous sense, applies properly to Manu, the primordial and universal legislator, whose name is found in diverse forms among a great many ancient peoples. In this regard, let us recall only Mina, or Menes, of the Egyptians, Menv of the Celts, and Minos of the Greeks. This name, moreover, does not designate a more or less legendary historical personage, but rather a principle, a cosmic intelligence that reflects pure spiritual light and formulates the law, dharma, appropriate to the conditions of our world and of our cycle of existence, and at the same time it is the archetype of man, considered particularly insofar as he is a thinking being, in Sanskrit manava. Moreover, it is important to emphasize that this principle can be manifested through a spiritual center existing in the terrestrial world by an organization charged with preserving intact the deposit of sacred tradition, which is of non-human origin, aparusheya, through which primordial wisdom is handed down across the ages to those capable of receiving it. The head of such an organization, representing in a way Manu himself, can legitimately bear his title and attributes, and what is more, the degree of knowledge he must have attained to exercise his function enables him to truly identify himself with the principle of which he is the human expression, as it were, and before which his individuality disappears. Such is indeed the case of Agartha, if, as St. Yves maintains, this center has taken over the heritage of the ancient Solar dynasty, which formerly resided at Ayodhya, and which traced its origin back to Vajrasvata, the Manu of the present cycle. In the Middle Ages, there was an expression in which these two complementary aspects of authority were joined in an interesting way. At the time, frequent mention was made of a mysterious region called the Kingdom of Prester John. Now, this was at a time when what could be called the outer covering of the initiatic center in question was formed in large part by Nestorians and by Sabians." End quote.